This video here is going to go into more depth about the code behind the system. And then, yeah, that's it. We're just going to get behind the system there. So if you're interested in the coding and how it works, this video is for you. If not, no need. Just don't watch it. Okay, so one of the things with these two managers, if these are not in the scene, right, I'll take them both out. All the elements will reset to their default properties. So they still have properties. So that means they're still working, but they're at the default hard-coded values. So where are these default hard-coded values? Well, the hard-coded values, or default values here, if you go to the package, elements package here, let me shrink some of these and expand this so it's easier to see. And we go to scripts, our element package scripts, and then under each element, right, you might have to expand yours. We have fire, we have default values, and empty values. Empty values are the scripts for the inspector, these managers. The default ones are the ones that are called if there is no manager. So here, right, if I look at fire properties, I open it up. These are the hard-coded default values when there's no manager present. So if you'd like to change these because you don't want to use a manager in your scene, you could find all of those values to change here by script into default values. So in addition to that, let's take a quick look at the element script, how it's working. So we just choose the enum. Right now I'm keeping metal in here to have an element that does not interact for debugging and play purposes. Metal does not interact with anything, but it's still considered a element. Maybe you'll change that in the future. But basically you choose one of these, and then based on what's chose there, the whole thing loads itself. So this sets the triggers if we're using onTrigger enter or collisions. This adds the interaction scripts for elements, so it enables them to be able to raise and lower different temperatures of each other's, and this is just checking errors, making sure everything's okay. Finds the manager and the renderer and applies those settings, and then also discovers the type. So based on the type, if this thing is a fire, it's going to only add then the fire scripts necessary. So these are then the fire scripts that are necessary for it. And all of them have temperature gauges, but they're all unique. So we go to the temperature gauge, and this is the thing, so after the values are being sent, this is the thing where it holds the temperature and where you pass increasing and decreasing amounts. And every time it increases or decreases, the temperature is then checked to see if it's below its freezing temperature, or if it's normal, or if it's at its burning temperature. And then based on those temperatures, right, it'll do the freeze stuff, or it'll do normal stuff, or burning stuff. And the freezing stuff, normal stuff, burning stuff, they are held on a different class. So we go to that class, and then it says, okay, if this freeze stuff was called, what element is it? Depending on what element was passed over to it, it'll switch. Okay, so if it was fire and it's freeze, then the fire is extinguished. And there's a different then class here which does the extinguishing, right here. Extinguishes the fire. And the things that catch that is the catch fire. We go to catch fire and go down to extinguish. It's probably easier if I just... it helps if I don't misspell it, right? Extinguish fire, and then here is the thing that extinguishes the fire. And you can see it also talks to the phase change, because I like to remember in these scripts, they remember what their original element were. So that's basically how this package is working through a temperature gauge. There are some additional things that I would like to add to this, but that depends on popularity and my own time and sanity, right? But if you have any suggestions on how these things could interact even further or more interestingly, feel free to add them in the comments, either here on the Unity Asset Store. Other than that, if you have questions about implementation or the code, feel free to ask. I will do my best to answer in a timely fashion. Okay, have fun making games. Cheers.